One. Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an episode that's all about the intersection of art, technology, and storytelling with a visionary entrepreneur whose mission is to reshape the digital art and culture landscape. Stay tuned. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Today we have a remarkable guest with us, a visionary entrepreneur who's reshaping how we discover, appreciate, and connect with art and culture. In this episode, we'll embark on a journey that spans ancient Egypt to the digital age, exploring his passion for art, culture, and technology. We'll discover how he's blending these worlds to create unforgettable experiences. So get ready for a fascinating conversation that delves into the realm of digital collectibles, brand storytelling, and the arts of crafting narratives. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Hussein Hallak. All right, Hussein, the party has now begun, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me in this party. I love the energy. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
All right, let's start off with the very beginning of this broadcast. Like almost any time people hop on the show, it's always because they're promoting something. There's something they do for a living, a business that they run, a mission that they're trying to put out. What is it that you do for a living, my friend?
I connect people with art and culture. So we built Momentable, a platform that allows everyone to discover, enjoy, and share art around the world.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. Now, art is very much a, how can I say, everybody has a different taste when it comes to art, right? So who is your target audience? Who's the person that you think best fits the ecosystem, the environment of the art that you create?
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. The biggest challenge that we have right now is imagine that over 90% of people have never set foot in a museum or gallery. And even if they do, 97% of collections sit in storage. So even if you pay money and like travel, let's say to New York, beautiful New York, and go to MoMA, you're still not going to see all the art that you can see. So we built a platform that is dedicated for the other 90%. So the 10% that have access, great, good for you. But there are 90% of people who don't have access for all kind of reasons. We built a platform that brings art to them so they can screen and stream art on any screen that they have. So you can turn any screen to your own personal art gallery. So it can be in your pocket, on your phone, or onto your smart TV.
That's awesome. Because let's face it, today we live in that digital age. My wife gets on my case. She loves to travel, right? My daughter loves to travel too. My son and I, we're pretty much homebodies. We don't really do that stuff that much. But I feel like I've seen a lot of places because of some of the spectacular art, pictures, videos that are just all over the internet. It's a different way to experience the beautiful things that we have as humans have already created. Tell me a little bit about your education. I know for some people, artistic talent runs in their genes, but with good training, good education, it could go to a whole new level. What's your educational journey that got you to here?
Absolutely. So I was always been in love with art, never really thought about it as something that is outside, like something extra. I've seen people are creative, people love art, but they don't have the opportunity. And with art, the beauty about it, you don't need to explain. You just stand in front of a painting, either love it or not. This painting behind me, there's a exhibition with 50 just like it, in the sense that all heads and stuff. And this is the one that I stopped and I said, I gotta have it. I can't explain it. It's just like love. You can't really explain it why you're in love with this person, but you just know you do. And art is like that. It's a conversation. So I studied as an engineer, but I wanted to go to arts. and I've always been fascinated with art and always been in love. So I started, dabbling around with the creative industry, built several companies in the creative field, and then built the largest marketplace for Middle Eastern art back in 2006. But the problem is, at that time, nobody was buying art online, and it was like a foreign concept. So when NFTs came about and we were already into the blockchain space, I saw it as an opportunity to help artists to connect with others and to sell their art digitally, because that's a very difficult task. And that's how I got here. It's really my passion to technology and art at the same time. I think a lot of us do have love for multiple things, not just one thing.
EFTs, I feel like they came on really strong into the scene and they kind of fall off. But as we
Yeah.
enter into more of a metaverse space, as we enter more into a digital realm, I mean, I know Meta just released their Ray-Ban glasses that are going to bring a whole new augmented reality into our normal every day-to-day activities. So NFTs still have a place in this digital space. Walk me through that entrepreneurial journey for you. Like when it's one thing, the passion in the art, it's another thing to turn it into an actual viable business. How did that start off?
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to do business because I needed the money. So while I was in second year in university, I didn't have money. I had money to drive to school,
Yeah.
to go to school in a bus, and then no money to go back. So my first business idea was to borrow money from my friends. That didn't go long because I had very little, like few friends. And then once they knew that I'm borrowing the money, not to return it back, they knew that's a bad business dealing. So that failed. And then what I did is I started drawing. At the time it was the 90s, so I used to draw logos and draw like images as design. That was the design before computers. And then got a computer, designed on a computer, and then started my first marketing agency. And honestly, I didn't know the word entrepreneur until 2000, I think, and 4, when I was researching, like, what do I name myself? Because everybody's asking me, and I didn't know. I just knew that I like to build stuff and like to grow them. And by that time, I had built 11 companies. 10 of them were not mine. I was hired by a company, and the person that hired me left. So nobody wanted to manage me. So I was jumping around from project to project, and I loved it. So that's how my love grew for that part. And then I researched, and it's like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. So in 2004, I was born as an entrepreneur, if you wish, as understanding what entrepreneur is. But and from there, I started, and I worked as creative consultant for animation, for documentaries. I produced or co-produced a documentary about the tsunami that hit in 2004, and then just got into, I love working with creative people. So I built my business so that I work always with creative people. So built several ad agencies, content agencies, and then recently ended up moving to Vancouver, because all of that while I was first in Damascus, Syria, where I was born, and then in Dubai for 11 years. And then 10 years I've been in Vancouver right now. So it's been a journey, just traveling, building businesses in different places. And it's just, I get an overwhelming feeling that there's something I want to do and there are people I want to help. Like in this case, I felt I love art and I want to help artists, because artists struggle to find, they do great art, but they struggle to make ends meet. And I said, this is a problem that is worth solving, because if people can make money from their art, more people will be artists, and less people will be, strung up or held up in a job that they hate. So that is really what drives me and what pushes me to create what I do.
I'm always fascinated when you hear the entrepreneurial stories and how people that tend to have ADHD, whether they know it or not, they're like, yes, cool project, on to the next project, on to the next project. Like it's kind of that shiny object syndrome, but in a good way, because you're able to attack a problem, see it, and try to solve it essentially in a profitable way. You also have been traveling the world from where you were born, spending time in Dubai, now in Canada. Like all these different things, or these different places have different cultures and different things that you can learn from entrepreneurs on how they operate. If you were going to give advice to someone starting a company today, with all the experience you have, with all the world traveling that you've done, what advice would you give somebody who's thinking about starting a business but has never done it before?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is that failure is part of the process. It's like anything you do in life. You fall to walk. You fall your way to walking. You fall on your way to become a great, I don't know, playing football or playing basketball. Falling and missing out is part of the process. That is something that we don't get taught because we see all the success. When we start, you're an entrepreneur as well. When you start, all you can think about is a success. And nobody tells you about how hard it is every day to wake up, do the same thing, because we have this idea that being an entrepreneur, it's like it's joy all the time, and it's like I'm having fun all the time, and we don't see the actual hard work that goes in day out. So I think first understand that failure is part of the process. And now that you understand failure part of the process, it's better that you don't fail the same failures that others did. So what you do is you go to people and listen to them, like listen to this podcast with Hernan and the people you interviewed, some brilliant people. You can actually pick up some elements from their stories, where they failed, what mistakes they did. Ask people for advice, feedback. That's is the greater place to start. And then once you collected some information from the market, especially from your customers that you want to serve, what problems are they dealing with? Not just what you want to do for them, what they want done for themselves. Then you can actually say, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. So for me, I learned first what artists need, and what do they struggle with, to the point that when I meet an artist right now, they say, I'm glad that somebody understands the challenges that we deal with. If you don't understand your customers, you're never going to be able to build a business that thrives. So that is the key starting point in any venture.
It's finding that problem and understanding that you're going to have your own problems along the way. You're going to make your own
100%.
mistakes along the way. And it's the solving of those problems, those small wins, the little victories that add up to a profitable and successful and really enjoyable career if you stick at it for some time. Everybody makes mistakes in business. What was probably one of the biggest mistakes that you feel you've made that taught you one of your greatest lessons?
Oh my God. Starting a business before validating that there is, let's say, a demand for it. So when I started Creative Arab in 2006, I was so passionate and so eager to help artists and to build something grand. And we built something really big, but we forgot something. We forgot to ask if people willing to buy art online, which is a big freaking mistake. To And then, like, okay, we built this site. Now what do we do? And you spent all the money, so you never do that. And probably what led to that mistake is that I had success early in life. So the first businesses that I built were highly successful. And therefore I thought, like, I know business. So I didn't need to learn. I didn't need to read. And then, but after that failure, I started researching, and I didn't want to start any other business before I learned why did I fail, and where did I make a mistake. And that's how I got to know the lean startup methodology, and read into that phase and learned how Facebook started, how the other, like the biggest companies in the world, started in their early stages, and what are the mistakes they made, and how can I avoid these mistakes. And I started building businesses better. That doesn't mean nothing can guarantee success. Like, you're not guaranteed success at all, but at least you raise your chances when you know the rules of the game, when you know what other people did, and what can you do to increase your chances of success.
Yeah, that's always the skill set, and there's always test and try and fail, and test again and try and fail, test and try and fail until you finally figure it out. Then you throw a bunch of money at it. I think you did it backwards there, but I think we all do. And I like how you pointed out the early successes, because I feel like I've had some of the same issues. I had success early on, and what the performance of the past doesn't guarantee performance in the future. So it's going to make a difference in the sense that you've learned something along the way. But then that ego can catch up to you real quick, slap you in the face. You mess up a couple of times. Tell me about some of the success stories you've had when it comes to helping people kind of get their art out and get their art sold. I always love the saying that facts tell, but stories sell. The story behind an artist, an art piece that you've helped kind of take them to that next level where they went from an idea to profitability.
Thank you. That's a great question. When I was in Dubai in early 2000s, I worked with a local jewelry designer, and she was brilliant. She needed help with her branding. She needed help with how to get out. So the process, the beauty and the challenge about working with artists is that every single one of them is very different. and have a unique journey. So, and luckily for me, I love learning about people. I love kind of talking to them, sharing the conversation and learning about their background, kind of like the questions that you're asking, which are great. So for me, the first step is to understand what she wants to achieve, and then the other thing is that seeing if I'm the right person or can I find the right people to work. So I assembled a team, and we helped her. She now have global recognition. She's one of the top jewelry designers in the Middle East. She's kept her uniqueness, which is very important, I think, for artists, is to, especially when you want to sell, and especially when something has to do with jewelry, to keep your individuality. She creates jewelry that mimics the shapes and movements of the desert, because that's the heritage that she comes from. So it's very unique. It's one of the stories I love, of the history in the back. Now we're just starting to create the platform for multiple artists, because the problem with that approach is that you have to work with each artist on their own. So I took the learning from there and put it into a platform where we can replicate that experience for a multitude of artists, especially right now in the digital age where we have so many different venues of promoting artists and helping them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a vast array of different platforms you can go to post, of different places where you can kind
Yes.
of come together and network and learn from each other and sell things to each other. Yeah, getting your message out. I don't think the distribution isn't the hardest issue anymore, but the focus distribution to the exact customer that you're looking for, that's a whole different ball game. When people are going to go and promote their art, there's a number of ways that they can go. Why do they choose you specifically? What is it that you do best, you feel, as a company that sets you apart from your competitors?
One of the things that they say in their own words is, number one, most artists don't like to do the business of art. Some of them are great. Artists are entrepreneurs by nature because they are doing their own business, but a lot of them are in it for the passion of creating the art. What comes after is a burden. So I think one of the key areas of success is, what we do is we don't come to the artist and say, here's a platform, now go post your art. The kind of artists we work with, we take the process from end to end. So we work with them, we say, just give us the artworks. We take care of everything else. The other thing that what we cared about the most is that we know that artists have been screwed with for a lot of times. Like they get into art because they are not, a lot of them are not business savvy, especially when they're starting. Obviously they become business savvy as they practice, which is like everyone. When I was first started, I wasn't business savvy. I had to learn from my mistakes. But for them, those mistakes is like getting stuck in a contract with, let's say, an agent, and they can't get out of it. And now like they can't do what they want to do. So what they like about us as well is that our agreement with us leaves them all kind of flexibility to maintain their level of lifestyle, to work with whoever they want to work. Art begs freedom. So we created an environment where they can be free to be who they are. And at the same time, we take care of all the exposure. And we built a platform that really builds on the new approach. So the new approach for us that we see right now is that people don't just want to buy art, people want to experience art. So if you go to a gallery, you browse around, you see the art that you want, and then only maybe you want to buy it. And plus, not everyone has $1,000 or $5,000 laying around somewhere to throw it on art. So we create an environment where first you can view any art that you want without any cost. Zero cost. You sign up for free, you view any art you want from the artists that we bring, and we are curating 100 artists of the top artists from around the world. So that's a curated experience. In addition to that, we allowed for each artist to have their own channel where you can subscribe and reward them. So even if you don't want to buy or you don't have the money, you can pay $1, for example, for the artist so that you can support their art. Plus, we used digital collectibles, or NFTs, of people, to make it accessible to buy online. We don't subscribe to how NFTs are or were, which is like an investment vehicle. We don't subscribe to that, but they are definitely a great vehicle for digital transfer of digital artworks. So that's why we use them. So all of these combinations makes it very suitable for these artists and very interesting for them.
Yeah, and again, if you're able to get paid doing something you love and you didn't know how to do that in the past and someone is helping you get there, you're going to really appreciate that. I know there are so many people that are going to that 9 to 5 because they have to. They're working to live instead of living to work. And that's kind of a living life by design is one of those things that we as human beings would love to be able to take control of. Let me ask you about improvement, because I feel like no matter what you do in life, even in the art space, you're always developing your skills. Maybe it's the type of brush, the ink, the canvas, or whatever it is. You're always looking for ways to improve upon your craft. And in business, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're always looking for things that you can become more efficient at or get better at. What is it that you are currently struggling with or trying to make more efficient in your business so that it operates in a better way?
I think the biggest challenge that we're facing right now is how do we scale the business when we are such a small team. So right now we're raising funding as a startup, and we are on our this is I think our fourth round right now. So meanwhile we have a small team, highly effective, but we want to do so much more than what the team is capable of. So that is a challenge. Everyone is working like, full on, full cylinders. So it's very easy to get burnout. So I think balancing between where you want to go and what you want to happen and the resources that you have right now is probably one of the biggest challenges this transitionary period, because before we were small and we didn't need to do much, and after, when we've raised funding, we will be bigger and we'll have enough resources to run with it. This transitionary period is very tough to manage because you want to do more, you want to be there, and you have a small team. So it is, I think, the biggest challenge that we're facing right now. All of us are like, overworked. Yesterday I slept like at 3, so it's not ideal. But I understand, everyone of the team understands that it's a transitionary period, and we try as much as possible to encourage each other, to remind each other to take breaks, to slow down a little bit, to rest, because I think that is important to come back fully energized to work, and to bring that energy to everything you do.
I feel there's a lot of rocky seas coming ahead for many of the arts, and many of the creativity pieces with the emergence of AI. Writers and ChatGPT are probably going at it if you're not using it as a tool. Artists and maybe, Dolly and some of these mid journey programs are kind of making art as quickly and faster than any human possibly can. How does AI like that affect the model that you're working with, or is it helping when it comes to either as a business for profit in art, or in creativity, or even in efficiency?
Yeah, it's a very interesting space right now that these new tools are coming up, and people, you have multiple opinions of it. The biggest challenge with these tools is that the way they were created, which is abusing the rights of artists. Artists are probably the most productive, but the least rewarded in our world. Obviously, I'm not talking about other jobs. Everybody can feel that. But in regards to impact, you create a piece, like you creating, let's say, this podcast, millions of people see it, but a lot of artists, they don't get the credit. The painting cannot say who the owner is. You might see it somewhere and somebody can rip it off and say, look at my art, and you would never know. It's unlike, let's say, the music industry, where if you take a music piece and you put it anywhere, even the platforms will demonetize you, and let's say, or will ask you to remove it, or you can have a copyright strike, let's say, for example, on YouTube. So that is not the case in art. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges, that AI has taken art from all around and used it to feed their algorithms, and that is where the creation coming from. So a lot of artists are not happy with that. However, the fact is that AI is here and people are using it. So definitely a lot of people, are excited. You can create art. Uh, I would say you can create artistic pieces, but it's not art. Art is a conversation. So you've heard, of course, of the banana stuck to let's say, to a wall, or the empty canvas, and you can call that art. Art is a conversation. It's not necessarily about skill. It's not necessarily about, the brush strokes or a kind of art. So unless there is a conversation, there's no art. So somebody feeding a few words to the machine and saying, hey, create, a painting of a man sitting on a window, sad, in the style of Dali. That's not art. That's you making a request, and a machine answering that request. Art is you tirelessly working on an idea and trying to find ways to express it so that you can have a conversation with someone so it can make an impact in their lives. At least that's what it is for me. So if you're doing that, whatever the tool, it's okay. So even if you're using AI, tools, but that's how you're doing it. For example, one of the MoMA just bought the AI piece that that they showcased in their lobby, and it's a massive piece of like very innovative way of using AI to represent some sort of fluid movement and images. It's really, really brilliant artwork. There's so much work in that, and multiple people contributed. And MoMA just bought it, so one of these most recognized museums in the world. So I think that tells us where it's going. The challenge right now is that technology itself doesn't have value. It's people who create value. So the question is, what do we create with this technology? Same thing. NFTs came about. A lot of people believed in the technology and believed that it has value. It doesn't have value, just like a website doesn't have value. What the value comes from human beings, from our contribution, from the content we create, from the ideas we share. So all that AI is doing and these tools is simplifying, making it easier, and hopefully enabling us to connect. Now, they're not doing that all the time, and some of them suck at that. And that you will see that. I mean, today I was raving about, not raving, actually raging against ChatGPT because it's actually becoming worse by the moment. So, and I can talk about that. But yeah, I mean, they're not, tools are tools. It's us, about us. What do we want to communicate? What kind of world do we want to create? What kind of value do we want to create in the world and add?
Yeah, and I think that's the emotional touch is the connection that we're really looking for. It's the reason why I love going to the movies. It's the reason why you have that art piece behind you. There's an emotional connection that happens along with that conversation that makes it that art piece that people want to connect with, that people want to look at, that people want to experience. As the captain of the ship, you have an opinion of where technology is going. You have a good grasp of where artists are at and what they need help with. Where do you see your company going here in the near future?
Oh, I see us really creating an impact. We're extremely excited because we just had our what we call Momentable Da Vinci almost ready right now, and about to release it. Released some elements. I'm really excited about presenting the world with something new and seeing how they enjoy the experience. I want more people to enjoy art, and it's my way of contributing to what's happening in the world. The reason I got involved in art and the reason I started the company at the very beginning is because of 9/11. 9/11 happened. I was in Dubai. I thought that everybody called anybody who's an Arab or from that part of the world a terrorist, and I thought if people only saw art and connected over art, they will go over, like they will see, oh, I love this, I can't, and they will connect and they will build bridges. So I see art as building bridges. I see us as a company that will continue its mission, delivering on that. We're raising our fourth round of funding. We raised $4 million last year. We're raising another round of funding that we think we will use to take our company to the next level, which is reaching out. Our goal next year to reach 100,000 users and display 100 curated artists and 10 museums. And we believe by doing that, we'll start a new revolution in the art space to how to experience, discover, and collect art.
Man, you got quite a vision ahead of you, and that's awesome. I mean, it gives you a point to where you want to go to. You know exactly where you're going, and it's something that you can easily sell to investors who want to be a part of that mission, who want to see that thing come to fruition. If people want to reach out to you, they want to find out more about funding rounds, they want to find out more about art, they want to find out about being an artist in your space. How can they do that?
It's very easy. Google my name, Hussein Hallak. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to hussein@momentable.art or go to momentable.art and leave something there. We're welcome. You can sign up for free. Love to have conversations. Really enjoyed the conversation, Hernan. You're awesome as always. This is what you bring to the world. This is your artistry, which I enjoy, and I want more of that. So if you enjoyed this conversation, I enjoy the energy. Please join Momentable, share it with people around you, and just enjoy art.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Momentable.art. Momentable.art. Easy to remember, art at the end instead of the .com. It's .art. Momentable.art. Hussein, thank you very much for coming on the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes things are going to touch you in ways, and I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally, right? These art pieces are going to talk to you in ways that'll make you feel something. You're going to have that connection. And that's exactly what Hussein's bringing to the table, an experience like no other in the digital space, giving artists the ability to monetize their craft and at the same time giving you, the general public, to connect with art pieces in a way you haven't connected before. Hussein, thank you very much for coming on the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz